In the last episode, investigative journalist Nora Wells tracked down Ava Cole, a troubled teen with a dark past who may have witnessed, or even committed, the murder Clara Hayes falsely confessed to. Just before Clara's appeal, Nora received a bloodstained bracelet engraved with EJ, and a chilling note. She dropped this near the creek. "You're close. Finish it. Now everything is on the line." Nora stared at the bracelet under a harsh desk lamp. Tiny flecks of dried blood. A delicate silver chain. Definitely a child's. Definitely old. She didn't touch it. She bagged it in evidence-safe plastic and placed it gently into her backpack. This wasn't just proof. It was the first physical evidence tying someone, anyone, to Ellie Jamison's murder. And it didn't come from Clara. Clara's appeal hearing began at 9 a.m. Nora arrived with seconds to spare, slipping into the gallery as Clara was brought in, hands cuffed, head down. The courtroom buzzed with low murmurs. Cameras clicked. Protesters stood outside. But when Nora locked eyes with Clara across the room, there was something new in her expression. Hope. Detective Elena Ruiz was the first to take the stand. She'd reviewed Nora's findings, the gas station footage, Ava's past, the audio clip, and now, this bracelet. "Ruiz, I believe there are sufficient grounds to question the original conviction. Specifically, whether Miss Hayes' confession was falsely obtained under coercion." Gasps filled the courtroom. The judge paused, asked for clarification. "Ruiz, we now have physical evidence that may connect an alternate suspect, one never questioned during the original investigation." The prosecutor objected, claimed the bracelet could have been planted. But Nora had already anticipated that. She stood up quietly in the back and handed the bailiff a notarized chain of custody log, along with time-stamped footage of the package drop-off from her door cam. The judge reviewed the materials, and recessed the court for forensic testing. Clara's hearing was postponed. But for the first time in 3 years, she wouldn't return to a cell. She was moved to a supervised halfway house pending further investigation. But the story didn't end there. In fact, it was about to explode wide open. Nora wasn't done with Ava. She drove back to the quiet suburban cul-de-sac and parked across the street again. This time, Ava was already outside, sitting on the porch, staring. Almost like she'd been waiting. "Nora, can I ask you something?" "Evie," flatly, "you're going to ask anyway." "Nora, were you at the park the night Ellie Jamison went missing?" Ava didn't blink. "Ava, do you think I look like a killer?" "Nora, I think you look like someone who's seen too much." A long pause. Then Ava whispered, "You're looking in the wrong place. It wasn't me. But I know who it was." Nora leaned in. "Tell me." "Ava, I saw Ellie get into a white truck. I didn't know whose it was at first. But then I saw the bumper sticker. It said, 'God, Guns, and Freedom.' Only one guy in town had that exact sticker." Nora froze. Because that sticker was burned into the town's memory. It belonged to Pastor Jim Keller. That's right. Pastor Keller, Ellie's Sunday school teacher. A respected leader in the community. Known for his charity drives and Save Our Youth campaigns, had a truck. Had access to children. Had never been questioned. In multiple news clips covering Ellie's disappearance, Keller is seen organizing vigils, handing out flyers. Always front and center. And in one of the clips, parked behind him in the church parking lot, the white pickup. The bumper sticker. Clear as day. Was it possible the town's most trusted man was hiding something darker than anyone imagined? Nora pulled property records, church rosters, even traffic citations. That's when she found it. In 2017, Pastor Keller was pulled over for running a stop sign, with a juvenile passenger who wasn't his. No charges. No explanation. The report was buried. She contacted the officer who filed it. Retired now. Living in Idaho. "Retired officer, I knew something was off. But I was told to let it go." "He's a pillar of the community," they said. Reluctantly, Mrs. Jamison agreed to speak with Nora. "Nora, did Ellie ever mention Pastor Keller acting strange? Anything at all?" Pause. Then tears welled up. "Miss Jamison, she said he gave her gifts. Said not to tell me. I thought it was just candy and bracelets. I didn't know." Nora showed her the EJ bracelet. Miss Jamison, shocked, that's the one. This wasn't a false confession anymore. This was a cover-up. And Clara Hayes had been the scapegoat. Nora compiled everything. Sent it to Ruiz. Sent it to the DA. But before she could go public, she received another letter. Type. No return address. This time just one sentence, "You're too late. He's already gone." That night, Pastor Jim Keller failed to show up for a scheduled sermon. Police visited his home. Gone. Truck. Missing. No signs of forced entry. No note. No blood. Just a locked safe in the basement, and a hidden room. Inside they found dozens of photographs. All children. All alone. And in the center of the wall, a photo of Ellie Jamison. Smiling. Wearing the bracelet. Vio Outro. Clara may soon walk free. But the man at the center of it all has vanished. And now the question isn't just, who killed Ellie Jamison? It's, where is Pastor Keller, and who's helping him disappear? Now the town is reeling, and Nora is about to uncover something even worse. Detective Elena Ruiz hadn't slept in 24 hours. The photos found in Keller's secret basement had been turned over to a federal task force. Most were untraceable. But three had names. And one of them wasn't Ellie Jamison. It was Ava Cole. Her school ID photo from 4 years ago. Cropped. Pinned next to a handwritten note. The quiet ones remember. They always do. I thought Keller's disappearance was the end of this story. But it was only the beginning. Because if Ava was once in Keller's sights, then she may not just be a witness. She could be the next target. Nora raced to Ava's neighborhood, heart pounding. This time the porch was empty. No Ava. No sign of movement. She knocked once. No answer. Knocked again. Ava's aunt opened the door, eyes red and terrified. "UNT, she's gone. I went to check on her this morning and her window was open. She's gone." Nora's stomach dropped. Detective Ruiz pulled footage from a nearby gas station. 1:43 a.m. A white truck. Same bumper sticker. Same make and model as Keller's. It paused at the corner of Ava's block. Then the footage cuts. The timestamp skips forward. 2 full minutes. It had been tampered with. An FBI profiler explained what Nora feared most. Profiler, Keller didn't act alone. He had help, possibly someone from inside the community. A protector. A cleaner. Someone who helped him disappear. The room fell silent. Because the list of people with access to that kind of power? It was short. And one name stood out. Mayor Thomas Reddick. Reddick had been mayor for over a decade. Publicly generous. Privately untouchable. But a financial disclosure buried in campaign filings told a different story. Tens of thousands in anonymous donations, funneled through a faith and family nonprofit, founded by Pastor Keller. And in archived footage from a 2016 church gala, a young Ellie Jamison, sitting in Mayor Reddick's lap, smiling. Clara looked healthier, her eyes brighter. But when Nora mentioned Ava's disappearance, the light drained from her face. "Clara, she told me something, before they arrested me. We weren't close, but she was scared of him. Keller. She said he had files. On girls. On people in power. She said, if anything ever happened to her, it would mean he was trying to clean house." Nora leaned in. "Nora, do you remember who else she said was involved?" Clara hesitated, then whispered, "Clara, the mayor." Nora met with Ruiz and a federal agent. They couldn't arrest the mayor without something concrete. And then Ruiz dropped the bombshell. "Ruiz, we found Ava's phone. Burnt. But the SIM card survived." "Nora, what's on it?" Ruiz slid over a printed photo. A screenshot. A location pin. GPS coordinates. Buried in her notes app. Last saved at 1:17 a.m. Right before she vanished. It led to an abandoned cabin. In the woods. Just outside Ashland. Nora, Ruiz, and 2 agents approached cautiously. Guns drawn. The door was slightly ajar. Inside. Silence. Dust hung in the air like smoke. Rotting furniture. Torn curtains. Then, movement. In the back room, a hidden trapdoor. Ruiz opened it. A ladder descended into darkness. And at the bottom, a mattress. Empty water bottles. Duct tape. Rope. And on the wall, a note. Written in jagged handwriting. "You're not even close. Vio Outro. Ava's gone. Pastor Keller has vanished. And now, someone is playing a game, leaving breadcrumbs, daring them to keep following." But with every new twist, it becomes more obvious. This wasn't just one man's crime. This was a network. A decades-old system of silence. And the next clue may expose someone even higher. The mayor is alone. Late at night. He opens a locked drawer. And pulls out a bracelet. A silver one. Bloodstained. Identical to Ellie's. He places it in a small black case. Then picks up a burner phone. One-word text, "Handle it." And Ava Cole, the one person who may have known everything, has disappeared without a trace. Rain slammed against the windshield as Nora sat in her car across from City Hall. She watched as Mayor Reddick's office lights flicked off. He was the one who hired Keller for the Save Our Youth initiative. The one who slashed funding for Ellie's original investigation. And now, the only lead, Ava Cole, was gone. Nora. She didn't just run. She was silenced. Her phone buzzed. A text from Detective Ruiz. Got something. Meet me at HQ. Urgent. In a dimly lit conference room, Ruiz slid a folder across the table. Inside, grainy ATM footage. Eva. 2 nights ago. With a man. Not Keller. Ruiz. We ran facial recognition. Guess who he is? Nora's eyes widened. Ruiz. Paul Reddick. Mayor's son. Paul Reddick. Never on the radar. Clean record. No ties to the church. But his name did appear once. On the original list of attendees for Ellie's final Sunday school picnic. Nora. Why was that name scrubbed from the files? Ruiz hesitated. Ruiz. His dad had it sealed. Claimed it was irrelevant. Said Paul was out of town. But now footage proved otherwise. An old interview tape. Ellie's friend, Jamie, age 9. Jamie on tape. There was a boy in a red hoodie. He gave Ellie a soda. She said it tasted funny and didn't finish it. That line had been redacted in the original transcript. And in the ATM footage. Paul Reddick wore a red hoodie. Clara sat alone, flipping through old photos. Her hands trembled as she picked up a worn one, her and Ellie at a birthday party. The door creaked open. Nora stepped in. Nora. I think we found him. The real one. Clara looked up, tears filling her eyes. Clara. Then why do I still feel like the villain? Nora sat beside her. Nora. Because they made you one. Ruiz and Nora followed the latest tip from an anonymous source. It led them to a rural storage unit registered under a shell company, connected to Reddick Enterprises. Inside they found a locked freezer. Ruiz crowbarred it open. Blankets. A child's shoe. And beneath that, an envelope. Inside, photos of Ava Cole. Bound. Crying. And another. A photo of Ellie Jamison, alive. Dated 2 days after her supposed death. Nora pieced the timeline together on a whiteboard. Ellie disappeared May 9th. Clara confesses May 11th. Ellie cited May 12th, photo dated and GPS tagged to the woods outside town. Paul Reddick seen with Ava on May 13th. Nora. If Ellie was alive after Clara's confession, then the entire case is a lie. And someone went to great lengths to make sure it stayed that way. She circled a new word on the board. Trafficking. Mayor Reddick stood at the podium, somber. Reddick. We are all devastated by these recent developments. I assure you no stone will be left unturned. But Nora had already checked the schedule. Paul Reddick left town just hours earlier. A private jet. No listed destination. She stormed into the hall. Detective Ruiz met her with grim news. Ruiz. Warrant for Paul's arrest came too late. He's gone. Interpol alert just issued. Nora. And Ava? Ruiz. Still missing. But we found traces of blood in Keller's truck. DNA is a match to Ava. It's not looking good. The lies ran deeper than anyone thought. Ellie's death may have been staged. Ava might have been taken to cover it all up. Clara's false confession? Just the beginning. And now, with Paul Reddick on the run and Keller still missing, this case isn't closing. It's cracking open wider than ever. Nora returned home exhausted. She poured a drink, sat at her desk and opened her email. One new message. No subject. Just one line. You want the truth? Come alone. Midnight. Route 16 overpass. Attached. A live photo. Ava Cole. Eye swollen. Bound to a chair. She wasn't dead. Not yet. But the clock had just started ticking. Subscribe now so that you won't miss out on the next episode of this chilling true crime story.